All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, this video is on supply number 2. This is going to be the end of the supply videos. Um, like I told some people in class, was that I was looking at all the stuff for supply, like what do you really need to know and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I should take out a lot of this stuff. You're not really going to need it unless you're going to be in business and things like that. And if that's the case, you go to school, college and stuff like that for that. And I'm sure they'll teach you a lot better than I can about that kind of stuff. So here is your warm up. So look at it, read through it. What do you see? Okay. What do you see here? Now, the second question basically asks you, what do you think is going on? Look at the people, look at their expressions, and then look what's written on each side. What is one person getting, whereas opposed what's the other person, quote unquote, getting? Um, and I hate to say it, but that's kind of true. And if you don't know where the word incentive means, it basically means to get you going, to make you want to do something, whatever it may be. So you do something, you get something, you know, just in case you didn't know what that meant. Okay, so these notes are actually very short, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so now here's the thing. Um, there's a thing called expectations, and that's basically a future price of a product. So let's say that you own a coffee place, and you look at the price of the competitors because you may not know, well, what would be fair price? So you look at other places, Starbucks, and you look at McDonald's, and you look at other places that sell coffee, maybe even a donut shop, and see how much they sell the product for. And then you have like, okay, well, maybe we should put it right here. Maybe a little bit less than everyone else because we want people to come in to buy our stuff. Okay. Now, when a competitor comes in, that really does affect the supply curve. Okay. If producers think that the price of their product will go up, the thing is they might hold on to it. Okay. So in class, I gave the example of my little pop figures. The thing is, right now I bought them pretty cheap, considerably. The thing is, as time goes on, they may become worth something more than what I paid for it. So I would probably like hold on to them and things like that. Uh, so wait till later on, and then who knows, maybe 20 years down the road, this Star Wars little pop figure, all the rest of them are out of the box, they're damaged, they're scratched up, things like that. Whereas I have one still in the box, it's prestige, hasn't been touched and things like that. So the price of this may go up. Okay. Now, just because something's old doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worth a lot, especially if it's been used and things like that. There's a lot of factors that go into it. All right. So, um, another thing, this causes supply to decrease and curve to shift to the left. Now, remember, if you didn't watch the last video, when something goes, the line goes to the left, that's bad. When it goes to the right, it's good. Okay. So there's the graph line right there. So when it goes to S2, that means it's good. When it goes to S3, that means it's bad. All right. Now it says if producers may expect lower prices for their output in the future. So that might be a time when they say, you know what, this might not sell later on. So something like Starbucks, you know, they have that peppermint flavor right now because it's wintertime in Christmas. When the New Year's come around, they may not want to sell peppermint because people are like, "Yeah, we're done with peppermint. That was so last season. Now it's a new year, so it's whatever. Maybe I don't know. I don't drink Starbucks." So the thing is, they're like, you know what? Let's sell it. Let's sell it now because right now it's hot. People want it. Let's sell the product. And that's where the bottom part comes in. Chances are they will produce and sell as much as possible right now, causing the supply curve to shift to the right, meaning good stuff. Like I said, people's tastes change and things like that, and there might be a new flavor coming up that people are already saying that they want to try. So Starbucks would say instead of holding on to it, let's hold on to the peppermint for a long time and bring it out in summertime, which some people are like, no, I like it during the winter, you know. So then they would sell it in the winter as much as they can. And then as the seasons go along, they bring out those flavors and try to sell them during that season time. All right, so here is your first question. Is there anything that you own that you feel will increase in value in time? Yeah. So if you do have something, you're like, you know, I do have this one thing that I bought years ago, and I checked online and I bought it for $10 and now it's worth $50, you know. So is there anything you have that's like that you bought that was relatively cheap, you know, when it first came out, things like that, and now some time has passed by and the value of it has increased, you know? So is there anything that you have that's like that? Yeah. If not, if you don't have anything that's like, you know, it's gonna be worth money later on in the future, um, what is something you could buy right now that you think if you held on to it, you kept it in its box, you didn't never used it, that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it'll be worth a lot of money, you know? So, like I would give the example of like the person who had like the first pair of Jordans, you know, never wore them, kept them in the box, things like that. Um, they could sell them for a very good price because they've never been worn and things like that. So they've been in the box. That could be worth a lot of money, you know. But again, people didn't really think like that back then. They would wear more. They wore their Jordans. I did. Okay. So think about that. Write it out. All right. Now here's two words that business people just cringe on, and that's government regulations. The government may have an issue with an item being produced, you know, whether it might hurt the people in society and things like that. In the United States, we have the USDA, we have the FDA and stuff like that. We have this um, group that makes sure that our food is good, that our medicine isn't going to kill us, things like that. So the product can be affected by this. Um, and that's the thing, like, you know, I give the example like my dad works at a frozen food place. And when they make the stuff, if there is like a shard of metal, even a little piece, I mean, it gets kicked out. And if there's too many of it, they just, okay, throw the whole stuff away. That cost the company the food to make it, the heat and all that stuff to cook it, the workers to create it, and now they're dumping it all away. So they're losing a lot of money. All right. And that's the thing. A lot of businesses don't like government regulations. It makes the higher and tighter government regulations restrict supply, and that causes the line to go to the left, which is again bad. You know, they don't like that. They don't like government saying you can't do this, you can't sell this, things like that. Another thing that could affect it is the number of buyers when it comes to the supply chain. So I ask you this: how many people could eat at that place you see that picture of? It's a restaurant, and like the smallest thing you can buy on like, on the menu is an appetizer. It's very small, and it costs $320. That's just the appetizer. Now this place is secluded, so that you had to go there by plane and stuff like that, and you know make reservations and all that stuff. How many people can honestly at any time go there? The number is very limited. You know, the steaks and lobsters are astronomical high price. So the question is, how many people can go to that restaurant right there? Not many. Then the question would be, how many people can eat at any time on the dollar menu at McDonald's? And the answer is everybody. Even the poorest of person, you know, can even scrounge up a dollar, maybe $1.10, and buy a hamburger or whatever. And there you go. They were able to buy it, you know. So that's the thing. Some places they're exclusive and your clientele is limited, whereas another place, anybody and everyone can get there. They can buy the stuff. It's easy. All right. Now, just like demand, there is an elasticity in supply. Now, elasticity is basically when something can be stretched, all right, just like rubber band and some people sweatpants, things like that. Um, so basically, um, supply elasticity is a measure of the way in which quantity supplied responds to a change in price. Now, elastic, again, stretches, okay? So if there's a large change, in price, the number will change. People may not buy as much of a product because the price is too much. So let's say a company um, that makes, I don't know, some particular type of doll. If the price of that plastic shoots up all of a sudden, they might try to look for another type of replacement for the plastic or find another supplier that has the price cheaper. Okay, so they can look elsewhere to get the product or change the product completely. Um, Inelastic basically means the thing does not move. All right, so like this this DVD, I can't stretch it. It doesn't stretch. No matter how much I try, it will not stretch. This is elastic. Um, and that's what it means to when it comes to buying stuff. Doesn't matter if the price goes high or low. It's not really going to affect how much you buy. You know. Uh, so it's like, uh, let's use the example of toilet paper. You know, just because you have the toilet paper is a little cheap, you're not going to stock up your whole house with it and then start using it like nobody's business. You're going to use the same amount you usually do. You know, and you probably wouldn't. You might buy an extra little, you know, case of it, but you're not going to buy a whole, garage full of them, you know. All right. Sorry for that interruption. Had to deal with something really quick. Um, so going back to what I was talking about, the thing with elastic, things that can move back and forth, things like that. Um, a price changes when it's like something you really need. If you really need it, you're gonna look for a substitute price for it. If the price is too high, you're gonna look for something else. Where inelastic, things that don't move, um, it's no matter what you buy, again, it's going to be, you're not gonna buy too much, you're not gonna buy too little just because the price has risen or dropped down. Now, I may have repeated myself. I do apologize for that because I can't rewind on this, so forgive me if I did go over something. Okay. Um, the last thing is unit. Now, this is the change in percentage is the same change in quantity. Okay. So, for example, you may hear something to the effect of like when the PlayStation 5 come out, that the units and this and that we talking about that's what they're talking about. So when it's being sold, the units go up. Okay. Especially, excuse me, right from the get-go, the units go up. Okay, now as time goes on, they might say, there's been a decrease in the units of like 35%, things like that. That tells you at one point up here, it was out here, it was nice and good, but then it dropped, because it can, again, there's only so much you can sell before it goes down, especially if something that's you can use over and over again, like a game console. So here is my last question for you, which is what is your thoughts on people who spend an outrageous amount of money on something that they can easily get cheaper somewhere else? So here's an example, like a family who needs groceries for the week. Now, what they do is they go to Whole Foods, which is pretty expensive stuff, and they buy only a small bag of groceries worth about $80. All right. Now, most places you go to, any grocery stores, a lot of, besides Whole Foods, a lot of them you can buy quite a bit for $80. Not just one little small bag worth of it, but like at least one large bag worth of groceries. Um, you might even get two, maybe three if you're frugal enough and you know how to shop and you know what, I don't really need this, this I need, and if I need this, is there a cheaper price? Things like that. Um, that's being a smart shopper. My question to you though is those people who just automatically spend that much money on something that you know they can get cheaper, but they don't do it. What's your thoughts on them? Do you think they're wasting their money? Do you think that they're just lazy, that they don't actually go shopping, like looking for better prices? Do you think they're privileged people? I mean, what do you think? So let me know. Okay. So go ahead, write that out. Uh, Once you're finished, that's the end of this lesson. Hopefully, you learned something new about supply. Um, so, I'm going to be remaking those videos for demand because apparently they didn't pop up when I made them. So, I'm going to remake them um, in a little bit. Okay. So, if you this was just the one you need to get done, hope you learned something new and you had fun. Um, and be sure to turn them into the black basket, your notes. Be sure you turn them into the black basket. And that's it. Okay, so take care, have fun, be safe.